So hit us. What's next, man? What's next?
We're going to move on next to a story that's been... I wish I had more to tell you guys, a better way of putting it, but this is an interesting story that's been coming out over the last few days. So, this actually goes back to Friday the 13th, right? Friday the 13th, I forgot about that. 7 Democratic candidates threatened to boycott debate over labor dispute. When they say 7, that also means every Democratic candidate that would have been on the stage is boycotting the debate due to a labor dispute.
Wow.
Now, so the candidates are scheduled to meet for the the Democratic presidential debate on the Loyola Marymount University campus in Los Angeles on December 19th. That is 3 days from today. Workers represented by Unite Here Local 11 have been picketing since November. Again, since November, though, I have to look at the dates. I'm just trying to say I do not know if the DNC had switched. They'll probably mention this here. Originally, this debate was going to be at UCLA. A labor dispute in UCLA forced them here. I don't know if this UCLA picket. I don't want to impugn anyone here, but I would say,
and none of those candidates can say, "Hey guys, get your crap together," because it's union disputes.
Well, yeah.
And so they just bounce from union disputed venue to union disputed venue.
I wonder if this second time, we'll get into more. I wonder if this was the union kind of realizing we have a pretty good bargaining chip coming. Like, they just had to move the debate because of the labor dispute. Maybe we should ramp ours up now.
Okay.
Which is, by the way, for anyone, that is a very good negotiation tactic.
Yeah.
Never. I consider it kind of like a shoot the rodeo moment, you know? It's like, what opportunities befell on us? But anyway, they mention here that basically, here we go. So, union representatives say that Sodexo, the subcontractor that employs the more than 150 university food service workers, abruptly canceled scheduled negotiations. Workers are set to picket Thursday outside the debate venue, which would be the debate. Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren was one of the 7 candidates set to appear on stage. Was the first to signal she would not cross the picket line. And then it just went through Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, Buttigieg, Andrew Yang. Also, they don't mention
they're
in this article.
all virtue signaling and lying.
Actually, Andrew Yang definitely said it before Pete Buttigieg. Not really. It just...
There's no way that was the first thought that came through Elizabeth Warren's head. She's thinking, crap, I need to get on the debate stage. I need to differentiate myself from the other candidates. I'm slipping in the polls. I need to show America that I can be a better leader. And crap, these guys can't get their act together. Their union dispute is preventing me from getting on a debate stage. Now, she can't go out and say that. So she organizes this flowery wording saying, I would never want to stand in the way of some kind of union negotiation. That's a virtue signal. And it seems inauthentic, and that's why people don't think she's an authentic candidate.
I have to apologize. I was untruthful. Cardin spent the last week learning how to read minds with gypsies, I guess. Or not, no offense. Yeah, I mean, some.
They're not gypsies. They're Eastern Romanians.
Some magical person taught you how to read minds, I guess, because you've just been reading them all morning, man.
It does not. Make a comment. You
know how powerful Cardin's mind reading is? He could read something on paper and just boom, I know what you think. I'm in your brain. Anyway, I want to get to something because it is true that there is a debate going on. There will be picketing outside of the venue on the date of the debate. So obviously people are reaching out to the DNC and saying every candidate said they will not be speaking what's going on. So as far as I know, there's been no actual communication back and forth. There's a statement that has been released by the DNC's communication director. Cameron's representative, I believe it's Hino Osa, said in a statement that the committee in the university had learned about the issue on Friday and is working to find. This is their statement. While LMU is not a party to the negotiations between Sodexo and Unite Here Local 11, Tom Perez would absolutely not cross a picket line and would never expect our candidates to either. We are working with all stakeholders to find an acceptable resolution that meets their needs and is consistent with our values and will enable us to proceed as scheduled with next week's debate. So proceed as scheduled is 3 days from now, and they haven't announced where the debate's going to be. Possible? I have to imagine you're working with Secret Service, security. You're working with a lot. You're working with the people that were very pleased at LMU to have a debate hosted on their venue. You're working with a lot of people here.
Well, that's a coup for LMU, too. I don't think they've had a political debate before.
That's what I mean. They don't want to lose this debate. And this is something that they actually don't really mention. They go through and they read the statement from both the union and from Sodexo, and they go through and talk more. This is what I kind of wanted to highlight. I wanted to bring this up. And again, just go back to... and again, my stance on this is more power to them, but here we go. This is the official statement from LMU. This is from the LMU newsroom. Official statement to be released on Friday when this hullabaloo started. LMU is not a party to the negotiations between Sodexo and Unite Here Local. The university is encouraged and continues to encourage Sodexo to resolve issues raised by Local 11. Earlier today, LMU asked Sodexo to meet with Local 11 next week to advance negotiations and solutions. LMU is not an agent nor a joint employer of Sodexo, nor are the Sodexo employees assigned to our campus. LMU is proud to host the DNC debate and is committed to ensuring the university is a rewarding place to learn, live, and work.
Cool.
It seems to me that even though the DNC is on, according to the DNC statement, what I'm reading right now, I'm trying to give you guys more up-to-date information. What I found is the university, last statement, they're operating under the impression they're holding the debate, I guess. And it looks like the last statement from the DNC is they're going to move it. It's in 3 days. So I don't know what's actually going to happen here, but the debate's coming up soon. I don't have a whole lot of public information. If we get updates, I'll let you guys know later, but very interesting scenario.
So what's your bet?
Very interesting scenario going on here.
You say I'm a mind reader. I know that you are an odds man and a gambler.
I'm a betting man.
I think they're the same thing because all betting is trying to read people's minds.
No.
So do you bet I think the union's going to win and they're going to take it all the way to the mat, all the way to the day before, and that everybody's going to be hoping that it works out. And Loyola Marymount, well, not Loyola, but the people negotiating with the union will ultimately buckle because they do not want to lose the debate and the prestige of having the debate there.
I mean, honestly, it unfortunately just like depends on a few things. I really have no idea like I said, I don't know the future. My guess would be, like I said, I think the union here kind of played their cards. I think they're going to win. I think they are. Although here's the other thing though. Just getting into strategy elements of it again. I don't know if the DNC moves the debate, the labor unions lose their leverage as well because the LMU already lost the debate. Like what leverage do they have left?
Yeah.
So I do wonder what would happen. I think the absolute best case scenario here is that in the next 2 or 3 days, some agreements made between Sodexo and Local 11. And that is because you don't have to move the venue, no more security headaches, no more, hold on a minute, we have nothing to do with this. Why are you taking the debate away from us? I think the DNC might, but even then, I have no idea what's going to do. My larger point is this is a very weird situation because I don't know, maybe I'm underestimating the DNC, but moving a presidential debate within a city in 3 days when the person you're taking the debate from technically has no control over the reason why you're moving the debate from them sounds like a bureaucratic political nightmare to me.
Okay.
Because then how do you decide who gets it? I don't know. I'm not going to get into too much. I just think that this is a very weird thing going on because we have, like I said, every Democrat saying, I'm not going to be there. The DNC said, well, we're moving it. And the school said, we have nothing to do with this as far as we know it's going as planned. I have no idea what's going on. I wish I could tell you guys more. However, I also wish I could tell you guys that's the end of the drama surrounding the debates.
But
it definitely isn't. So top Democrat candidates asked the DNC to allow more candidates to participate in debates. Sort of. Senator Cory Booker and other 2020 candidates have asked that the rules be relaxed to foster greater diversity in the party's final primary stages. 9 Democratic presidential candidates sent a letter to the Democratic National Committee Saturday urging the party to ease the qualification requirements for upcoming debates, highlighting tensions within the party over the decline of candidates of color in a primary field once heralded for being the most diverse in U.S. history. They keep going and say to make the stage for Democratic debate or December debate, which most candidates have pledged to boycott over a labor dispute, the party required candidates to receive at least 4% in DNC-approved polls and have at least 200,000 individual campaign donors. The requirements for a debate invitation have grown more stringent as the primaries progressed. It is not yet clear whether next year's debates will have tougher requirements for participation. Despite this uncertainty, the letter, spearheaded by Cory Booker, who, by the way, again, more power to him, this is Cory Booker's issue he's running on, is that the DNC feels not diverse enough. It reminds me of when Beto kind of was falling out of the race and Beto really latched on to the gun control thing because that happened in his home state.
Yeah.
It seems like Cory Booker realized he was falling out of the race. He missed the debate and he found something to latch on to. More power to him. He found a message, but sorry, Cory. Having a moan about the fact that you didn't meet the requirements. You know a person of color.
It's a tough pill to swallow, but swallow it, bro.
But do you know a person of color with a legit claim they were screwed by this system? Is Tulsi Gabbard. And yeah. I'm assuming she signed the letter, but you're saying that she hasn't turned her campaign into this. Anyway, and again, more power to Cory Booker. When your campaign is struggling, you got to find some justification. This is a pretty good one for him. However, he argues that the criteria have unnecessarily and artificially narrowed the diverse pool of presidential candidates before voters have had a chance to be heard, the letter reads. As a result, candidates who have proven both their viability and their commitment to the Democratic Party are being prematurely cut out of the nominating contest before many voters have even tuned in, much less made their decision. So should the Democratic debate scheduled for next Thursday proceed as planned, which again, it might not even, it will feature 7 of the 15 candidates left in the race. Despite the top candidates signaling support for the rule changes, the DNC won't budge. This is where I want to get to the DNC's response. The DNC, by the way, is not having this for 1 second. So,
well, can I just say something before you talk about what the DNC's response is? This was completely predictable in my mind. And here's the reason why. We're in a very unique situation in this debate where the front runner, Joe Biden, wants as much chaos on stage with the minor candidates as possible, because when there's chaos, people will they'll fall back on a safe candidate. And Joe Biden's number one distinction as a candidate is, hey, I was Obama's guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm the closest thing you got to the Obama legacy. Sure, I may have my problems, but look at this experience. And people are like, oh, I recognize that name, and the world didn't explode when he was vice president. So sure, I'll go with Biden. So the guys on top want there to be as many candidates on stage as possible because that creates chaos. And then the minor candidates who aren't hitting these thresholds, Cody, they all want their last chance to attack Biden. They want their last chance to attack the person on their left or the person on their right and have that Tulsi Gabbard, Kamala kept people in jail for nonviolent crimes moment, you know? And so literally every single person on stage benefits from there being pure chaos in the short term, while none of them recognize that in the long term, you just gave Donald Trump the single biggest gift he could ever need in 2020, a chaotic Democratic field that looks at best disorganized, at worst sheer chaos. You know what I'm saying? So this I kind of saw a mile away only because it benefits everybody to have more people on stage.
Well, I'm sorry. I was trying to find the article in particular. There's been, and I'll show you guys.
Well, you think I'm wrong or what?
A little bit, yeah. No, but because I do. I think what we're seeing here is actually something different. I actually think you got things backwards a little bit. While I do agree a little bit that the idea of like the more people on stage, less I have to talk. So first things first. I'm going to give you guys the DNC.
It benefits
response.
Joe Biden.
No, the DNC response is this. The DNC has led a fair and transparent process and even told campaigns almost a year ago that the qualification criteria would go up later in the year. Not one campaign objected. The DNC will not change the threshold for any one candidate and will not revert back to 2 consecutive nights with more than a dozen candidates. By the way, the emphasis is my own. I think if this was more, I think this part right here, where is it? This line would be in bold, italics, and like 50-point font. Yeah. We will not revert back to 2 consecutive nights and more. They are serious about this, and the reason why, I'll try to find the article in the description. When they had those 2 nights debates, front runners were raising hell behind the scenes. They were saying, "Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous." I believe one of the quotes from a top aide was, "I'm trying to run a campaign here. I don't even know what night the debate's on." That was what the DNC was hearing when they had a larger field. Another DNC official said, multiple campaigns have privately signaled to the DNC their frustration with the large debate stage and asked them to hold the line. By the way, did I tell you that every candidate that's going to be in the debate stage signed the letter asking them to increase? So I do agree. This is disingenuous by people who signed that letter. Because first of all, what does this mean for a candidate like Andrew
Yang?
Yang?
You said I can't read minds and say that Elizabeth Warren was being disingenuous.
I'm not reading mine. My evidence is DNC officials saying that campaigns who maybe they're speaking about what? No, everyone signed the letter. They're saying that campaigns, I'm assuming they're speaking of campaigns who signed that letter, are privately saying, hold the line, don't change anything. They're saying, I'll sign the letter because I got Tom Perez's ear and I could tell him, don't you dare change a thing. Stick to your guns. Because, dude, do you think if the DNC...
Well, and if they don't virtue signal, they look like they're being exclusionary in the party of... inclusion.
That's your word of the day, virtue signal. If they're so concerned about that, why would the DNC come out and just slam the door and say, they knew about this, nobody objected, we're not budging an inch? That's how interested in virtue signaling the DNC is right now. We don't care. Kick sand or kick rocks. That was basically.
Well, they can say that to their candidates.
I can sum up their response as kick rocks. That's what they're telling people.
Yeah, which is awesome.
They're basically saying our qualification. This was, by the way, I omitted the most get out of here line of it. Our qualification criteria is extremely low and reflects where we are in the race. They're basically saying, get out of here, man. If you didn't qualify now, you think we're going to save you? You're done. Get out. It's basically the answer from DNC.
Isn't that a dig, too,
it's
though?
Crazy, man.
Our qualification criteria is extremely low.
It's, of course, a dig. It's rude. You know what it's saying? It's saying, Booker, stop it. Hold on. When that letter was penned, when that letter was signed by every candidate, it was signed by every candidate, right?
Begone, thou peasants.
Wait, isn't it interesting the DNC's response was, we will not change the threshold for any one candidate? Was that the ask? Did people say we must change these thresholds for one candidate? Or are they referencing Cory Booker spearheading this whole drama? Are they saying, Cory Booker, stop calling the DNC prejudiced? Because
I don't know. I can't read minds, Cody.
No, neither can I. But I'm not reading minds. I'm reading words. Why would they say any one candidate? There's only one candidate who is being mentioned. You know what? Speaking of reading words here, you'll notice that maybe they're talking about Julian Castro. My point being is, Julian Castro and Cory Booker, after missing out in debate, became very, very vocal about this. And now we have the DNC releasing a statement saying that we're not going to change this for any one person. Are they speaking of Marianne Williamson? Is she saying that we must change the rules? They could be speaking of Tulsi Gabbard, which is a good point. I'm going to bring that up. Tulsi Gabbard, as I said, if the rules were a little bit different, would be in the debate stage. And by a little bit different, I mean if polls conducted by universities with the largest publication in the Northeast are showing that Tulsi Gabbard's at 6%. If they counted those polls, she'd be in. They're not counting those polls, so that could be a good point. I mean, fair. I can't read minds either. They could just be saying that. It's just weird to me when there's a couple specific candidates in particular that are championing this. The DNC says we're not changing this for any one person. It's like, well, the letter was penned by one person, signed by many. That's my point. I think that's the response we're seeing here from the DNC.
Either way, I do agree with you.
By the way, do you know who agrees with me on this as well?
Who?
Politico. The Booker campaign was the driving force behind the effort to convince other campaigns to sign, according to several presidential campaign operatives familiar with the discussion. Also, because I didn't think it was weird when I heard Andrew Yang signed on to the letter, because I was like, isn't that like not good for Andrew Yang to split his talking time with more people? But him and Booker are friends. I could also see if Cory Booker calls him and says, hey, man, will you support me on this? I think Andrew probably would say, of course I'll support you on this. Even though, again, Cory Booker, by the way, has been going on about this whole there's no diversity in the stage, and Andrew Yang, well, it's like, well.
So Asians don't count as diversity.
Again, that's the second part of this whole thing, which has made it a mess. And again, by the way, guys, remember, the debate that's these people, all these 7 candidates qualified for might not happen or might be postponed or who knows what. It might go on as planned. Right now, I'm finding no public information that's been released of what's going to happen with it. All a bunch of crazy stuff going on with the debates. I mean,
so this debate on the candidate side is a debacle between the DNC and the actual candidates not being able to get their act together. On the venue side, it's an absolute debacle. And it's how many days away?
3. As of recording. 3 full
days.
So
as
Tuesday,
of recording,
Wednesday,
we've got 72 hours to figure out how many candidates are going to actually be on stage, where it's going to be, and whether or not the food service people are going to show up.
No, sorry. For this debate, the candidates are set. That's one last thing.
Yes.
No, but the last point of data, it's a good segue into this. And I'll just put it on the screen if you want to just keep talking, but these are the other announced debates. January 14th, February 7th, February 19th, February 25th. It has not been announced for these debates what the qualifications will constrict to, if they will, if they'll, because it seems to me the DNC statement, they almost feel like they can maintain the same requirements and be like, you guys aren't going to get in. Like we can keep the requirements and it's not going to change much. So that's it. The biggest thing I wanted to show, because I remember, again, I apologize, I couldn't bring the article up right now to show you guys. It was from months ago. It was like a business article, but this sentiment right here, that behind the scenes, privately, major campaigns are saying, we do not, like I said, when they had all 12 candidates on stage in one night, and we were trying to figure out why would they have all 12 on one night? That's too many. Wouldn't it be nice to have 2 nights of 6 people? No, because I don't know if it was Biden, I don't know if it was Warren, but top campaigns are like, we are not doing this nonsense. We do not want a huge field. We want one night as few people as possible is what they're pushing for.
So if you were
one night as few people as possible, and the DNC again, sorry, I just wanted to get back to the other thing in that.
Well, my
really
last question for you, just before we go to the next segment, is just if you and I were role playing, okay, and I, in a Boomer King voice, were to be the DNC and speak in iambic pentameter, semi-Shakespearean, would I say, "Begone, thou peasants"? Would I say, "Riffraff"? What? How would you make colloquial their phrase that we're not lowering our? Would you call them urchins? What would you say?
No, they're just. I think they're saying, "Look, you guys are gonna have to take this L, man. It's over.
Take the L. That would be the takest thou the L.
Yeah, it's over, man. Because I mean, it's not over by the way. Because I don't think Tulsi should drop out because she missed the debate. Because I think if the rules were different for one particular person, she would have been in, right? But I do think the DNC is saying, if your response to not being able to drum up enough support from our voter base is to call us prejudiced, you got problems, man. I think the DNC is saying, like, look, we've done everything we can. We can't make people choose you in polls. Yeah. Because that is what it came down to.
Look at them. They're all turning into conservatives.
We can't make people like you, is what they're saying. And, and you turning around and accusing us of being responsible for this doesn't help us at all. Because, by the way, someone pointed out, a woman of color did qualify for the debate stage. She just dropped out. I mean,
she's just not approved.
No. Kamala would have been on the debate stage, but she dropped out of the election. Like this notion that the Democratic voter base is just so prejudiced and the DNC is so prejudiced, they're barring people of color is a little bit crap because Andrew Yang is on the stage and Kamala had qualified for the debate stage like a month out, and she just dropped out of the election because it wasn't going anywhere. And I think also I almost want to feel. This is the last thing I'll touch on. The Kamala dropout almost did feel a little bit of like a message to candidates like Andrew Yang, by the way, of like, if you're below this line, you should be dropping out. I feel like that was their hope. They were hoping when Kamala bowed out, you would see other people under that Kamala line bow out and they could get into 2020 stretch run with a 4-person frontrunnership. They don't want these people in here. And as someone else pointed out, again, the very last thing, if they did change the qualifications at all, there is, but like, would they change the donor threshold for Bloomberg? Who knows? I think it's what the DNC wants to say. We're happy with this system. It's not perfect, but dude, like,
but can you not,
like, some of you guys
do you not see the irony in this, Cody? That literally the argument of the DNC is that, hey, we run a meritocracy here. And when you complain that we don't have enough POCs or have enough diversity on stage, it's because you're not reaching the points of meritocracy here.
No, because that's ultimately everything's always a meritocracy. I know
it's like the classic left versus right argument, but it's now happening in the actual race of who gets onto the debate stage, and these harsh realities are showing up. Just like you said, I'm sorry, we can't get people to like you in polls.
No,
like we've done everything we can.
Yeah, and like I said, Tulsi kind of had a legit argument. Tulsi had multiple polls above 6% that just weren't being counted. I don't really recall that being the case for specifically Booker and Castro, who, like I said, the people kind of spearheading. It's not like
they haven't had breakout performances in areas that should have been counted.
Yeah, like if I'm looking at these polls and it's like they're hitting 5, 6, 4, and there's none of those polls count, I'd be like, this is a little crap. But for the most part, it's not like that. So I mean, I don't ever want to side with the DNC. I think they're a pretty bad organization. My favorite is when the DNC in a courtroom argued they have no responsibility to actually have fair and transparent election. That was crazy. By the way, I mean, I don't have to pull it up. That's what the DNC argued in court. That it was merely political rhetoric that their elections were fair. Crazy stuff, man. I'm not fans of this organization. However,
the Supreme
their
Court
statement
also
is consistent.
said, make sure you subscribe to us on Twitter, because that's how we reach out to a lot of people, make a lot of our announcements. Also, if you want to contribute to the channel, there's a PayPal link in the description. And call us and leave a voicemail with your questions. We love responding to your voicemails, especially when we do our live streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That seems to be our most popular day. That's not exact set schedule, okay? So don't quote us.
Keep ours open 2020 for more stuff.
Yeah, exactly. By Jan 1, 2020, we are going to be doing a much more, not cohesive, but I would say kind of etched in stone, a lot more consistent live stream schedule. So anyway, love having you guys here. Like, share, subscribe if you can. This is Problem Solver Politics, and we will see you in the next video.